Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga. Heart Gold and Soul Silver story arc, where previously Gold is on a journey to discover the secrets of Arceus, the Pokemon God, with our story opening with Gold traveling to the Pokeathlon with Whitney, the gym leader, coming up against none other than the Johto/Kanto Elite Four, now in a more official capacity, bringing them a little bit more in line with the game. But the Elite Four know that Gold isn't simply here to compete. No, in truth, he has been sent by Professor Oak to meet up with none other than Lance. Lance having information about the legendary Pokemon Arceus and the potential machinations of a resurgence of Team Rocket. But with only Lance's Dragonite arriving on the scene in a bit of a manic state, Gold, for whatever reason, decides to travel to Eckertique City to see the Kimono Girls. Meanwhile, Silver is also on his way to meet with Lance and discuss the machinations of Team Rocket. Arriving at the Whirl Islands where they previously would meet up, he finds Claire, also searching for Lance, only for them to be ambushed. While Silver does manage to fight them off, having some of his Pokemon involved, he also finds a mysterious object that seems to be a plate, something he had mentioned that was mentioned to him previously in a discussion about Arceus. And we see that yes, Team Rocket is on the move with, of all things, one of the three beasts' car at the helm, but he's quickly disposed by the new top four executives: Archer, Arania, Proton, and Petrel, with Team Rocket once again under new management. What dastardly devastation will befall Johto yet again? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, adventure number 5. Weeble wobbles, but it won't fall down. That's a complicated title. We pick up with Silver flying over the ocean on his Honchkrow. Well, dangling from his Honchkrow, as he thinks to himself, Team Rocket. We crushed that evil organization, and now they're trying to make a comeback. Yeah, it's kind of wild. It's only been a few years since he was unfrozen, and he's still on this mission. And the kid never gets a break. He thinks, what are they after? And who is their leader this time? Could it be? Yeah, I mean, he lost track of his dad yet again. That's true. No, I don't care who their boss is. If they're planning to ruin the lives of innocent people, I'll put a stop to them. But Honchkrow calls out to Silver, and he says, that must be it. The Safari Zone. As Silver flies over the Safari Zone, landing outside of it, he brings out his Weavile. Love Weavile. Thinking, I figured Lance would know something about Team Rocket's return. But he wasn't there when I tried to visit him. Claire was, though, and judging from what she told me, there's a good chance that Lance was attacked by somebody. The last thing Lance said to Claire was Safari Zone, Plate, and Arceus. So maybe I can find some clue to his whereabouts in the Safari Zone. That's what I thought, but nope. But Silver comes upon a massive crowd outside of the Johto Safari Zone. He thinks, I don't see how a place like this could be connected to an organization like Team Rocket. I mean, it might be a front. He looks over to a table full of illustrations and poems, picking up a very crude drawing of Suicune. And a very familiar figure asks, are you a fan of Suicune? If you've seen... Oh my god. I actually didn't expect to see him here. He says, only I am capable of drawing such beautiful illustrations of Suicune, because only I have dedicated my life to seeking this exquisite Pokemon. These illustrations are one of a kind. You got that right. Silver simply walks away, tossing the picture, as you see him says, hey! Silver continues looking around, thinking, I don't see anything of use to me here. And suddenly, a voice calls over the loudspeaker, sorry to keep you waiting, you may enter now. And a crowd starts to trample over Silver, dragging him into the Safari Zone. And he says, hey, no! The announcer says, please move slowly, no running or pushing, which is unfortunately exactly what happens, but, that's amusement parks. So, Silver ends up with a whole bunch of Safari Balls, and Weavile ends up with a whole bunch of Pokechow. Oh, hey, it's the Warden! Okay, so it's the same guy as usual. Baoba. There we go. Baoba says, Welcome to the Safari Zone, everybody. I am Balba, the owner and game warden. This is where you get to play the Safari game. For an entry fee of only 500 Pokemon dollars, you will receive 30 Safari balls. Use them to capture as many Pokemon as you like until you run out of the Safari balls or decide to quit. Alrighty then, have fun! And so he has the gates opened. Silver says to Weavile, since we're here, might as well try to figure out what Lance was up to. As he enters the Safari Zone, he says, this is supposed to be a good place to capture rare Pokemon. It's bound to be good training for us at least. Alright, Silver makes his way through the muck in the water. His eyes peer out at him. He says, and as Arbok goes to attack, he sends out Weavile, who does battle with the Arbok. Silver says, I'll wait until it's weakened, then use the Safari Ball too. But suddenly, enter Usain into the picture. Usain says, is that your Pokemon fighting over there? As Weavile is just slamming Arbok around. Silver says, that's right. Usain says, hold it, stop right there. Alright, you can't actually battle Pokemon here. You're permitted to walk around the facility with your Pokemon, but not use them in battle. You're only allowed to use bait or mud. Weren't you listening to Mr. Balba's instructions? Silver thinks to himself, sorry, I wasn't. Usain says, well, now you know. I apologize for raising my voice. Oh god, Usain's gonna be Silver's tag-along here. Oh boy. Then again, they never got to know each other previously, huh? But you have to understand, I couldn't bear to see this place get closed down because of unmannerly ruffians driving the public away. Silver asks, I've seen you somewhere before. Oh, you're the one hawking those Suicune illustrations. Do you work here? Usain says, oh no. I'm just gathering information to fulfill my dream. Silver says, you said you're seeking Suicune. Usain turns saying, that's right. I am dedicated to the pursuit of the legendary Pokemon Suicune. That's me. Silver thinks to himself, a guy who's obsessed with finding a legendary Pokemon. He's kind of weird. I can't tell if he's friend or foe. While Usain just says, while he thinks Silver is listening, the ephemeral summer breeze. Its fleeting nature is what makes it so dear. Oh, Silver thinks, but he might know something. I'll pump him for information. He brings out the plate he got previously, and Usain just kind of looks at it questioningly, and Silver thinks, well, but someone is watching from afar with binoculars, seeing Silver wielding the plate. They say, found him, and he's got the plate too. Oh, it's Petrol. It's him, the guy who defeated the coughing I sent to Lance's hideout, and swiped the plate. I'd recognize him anywhere. A little payback is in order, don't you think? Right, he says, petting one of his coughing. Why do you have so many coughing? Okay then, it's time for revenge. Silver continues waving the plate, thinking, it's not reacting at all. So I guess he isn't connected to Team Rocket. But suddenly, he starts bursting into tears. Silver says, huh? Suddenly, he starts coughing and sneezing. Usain says, what's going on? I get those crying and sneezing and coughing. As dust starts to form around Usain, Silver brings out his Pokédex saying, this is coughing's gas. As the Pokédex reads, coughing, the poison gas Pokemon. Its thin, flimsy body is filled with gases that cause constant sniffles, coughs, and teary eyes. Oh god, keep that away from me. Silver brings out a handkerchief up to his nose saying, I fought them at the secret chamber too. Is it the same enemy? Petrol calls out, that's right. What do you think? They didn't use tactics like this back then, did they? That's because I didn't go with them. But this time I'm giving them direct orders. So don't expect to defeat them so easily as you did the last time, because you won't. Silver calls out, that letter on your chest. Petrol says, one of the 4 executives who control Team Rocket. Petrol. Silver says, the 4 executives who control. Silver smiles, realizing, yep, your dad ain't evolved. I see. He brings out Weavile and has it use Icy Wind, freezing several of the coughing, mostly freezing their ducts shut so they can't keep producing the gas. Petrol says, nuts. He froze the holes on the coughing to prevent them from spewing out gas. But you're just a little bit too late. You're already surrounded by their poison gas. Usain says, sooner or later you and your Weasel are going to dissolve into tears. It's not just like the guy next to you. And, No, that's Petrol saying it. Sooner or later, you and your Weavile are gonna dissolve into tears and snot. Just like the guy next to you in that silly cake. There are other ways to use their gas as well. Oh, something blasts through Weavile's arm, and it falls to the ground in pain. Silver calls out for Weavile, and as he looks at the wound, he sees a thin cut. Silver says, "This wound. Raticate's Hyperfang." And on cue, Raticate comes bursting forth from the smoke, narrowly missing Silver as he manages to dodge its fangs. Silver says, "It's hiding in the gas." Petrol says, "Nice work. Let's end this once and for all." Silver then says, "Huh? What's that sound?" Oh, and they noticed too late that both Silver and Eugene were on a rope bridge. Well, formerly, now that Raticate has gnawed through the rope on the bridge. As Petrol sneers, Silver barely manages to grab some of the rope, causing him and Eugene to dangle on the cliff as Petrol approaches. He says, "Not bad. You managed to save your friend even though you couldn't see him through the gas. And you were swift enough to grab that rope. But you're stuck now," Petrol says, leaning down. "So hand over the plate. It's red, so maybe it's a Draco plate. Or is it a flame plate? A fist plate?" Silver says, "Huh?" Petrol continues on, laughing. "Not that I care, really. I've got the toxic plate and the earth plate, so once I get yours, I'll have 3, and I'll be another step closer to completing the set." Silver calls out, "Wait a minute. You mean there's more than one plate? More than just mine?" Petrol says, "Huh? What? You didn't know? I'm such a blabbermouth. Oh well, good thing I'm getting rid of you as soon as I get my hands on it. But yes, there are more than one plate. There is more than one plate. And getting hold of all of them is Team Rocket's goal." I'm surprised. You think after everything that happened in the Fire Red and Leaf Green story arc, they'd know he's Giovanni's son. But Silver smiles, saying, "I see. In that case, if I get those 2 plates from you, then I'll have 3 of them." Petrol says, "Huh?" Getting angry. But Silver releases the rope, falls into the waters below with a massive splash. And as Petrol is doused by it, he says, "What's with all this water?" As something comes flying by him. It's Weavile going for his neck with his claws ready to puncture. Petrol says, "You've got to be kidding." And it's then that Silver comes rising up on his bright red Gyarados, which, gotta get Gyarados out here. Silver says, "Give them to me. Hand over those 2 plates and tell me how many plates are there altogether." He doesn't care about what they're for. As long as it disrupts Team Rocket's plans, he's all for it. He's all about ending that legacy. Alright, next is adventure number 6. Fortunately for Feraligatr. As Silver looms over Petrol with his Gyarados, he says, "Give them to me. Hand over those 2 plates and tell me how many plates are there altogether?" As Petrol begins to move, Weavile starts digging its claws into his neck. Silver tells him, "Don't try anything stupid." And Petrol looks into Silver's eyes, cold and determined. Petrol thinks to himself, "Sure is determined. He'll crush me if I don't hammer over the plate." Petrol says, Okay. I'm getting them out, all right." He brings out 2 plates, and then suddenly swiped from Petrol's grasp and brought to Silver's hands. Oh, I couldn't tell. It was Gyarados' whiskers that did it. Petrol says, Okay, there are 16 plates in all." Silver says, "I have more questions for you. What are these plates? What power do they contain? Are you collecting them? What happens when you've collected them all?" And suddenly a voice calls out, "Hey!" The Safari Zone member on a Jeep says, "Are you the one? We've received a report that somebody's been engaging in a terrible Pokemon battle inside the Safari Zone." And a metal hoot says, "Rule violation, please exit." Silver thinks, shoot, the Safari Warden. The man says, "Good grief, he even broke the bridge. Come with me to my office. You've got some explaining to do." And the metal hoot says, explaining, as it accosts Silver. Suddenly, what? Boba says, It's okay. As he is taking the place of Petrol in Weavile's grasp. Balba says, "He's an old friend of mine. We were just playing around and we got carried away." How the heck? The warden says, "Oh, Mr. Balba." Balba says, "I'm sorry for the trouble I've caused. Please extend my apologies to whoever reported this as well." Silver is aghast, thinking, "What's going on? My Weavile captured Petrol. What's Balba doing all the way out here? And as Balba waves off the warden, he says, phew, and turns to Silver with cold eyes. I managed to chase him off without drawing any undue attention. That's a relief. I can't afford to get mixed up in any drama with all these witnesses around. It's the same for you, isn't it? Balba rips off his face, revealing Petrol in disguise. How did he do it so fast, though? Silver says, a disguise? Petrol says, it's a gift and my greatest talent. All I need is my makeup tools, and in a matter of seconds, I can impersonate anyone I wish to. As he switches his face from Silver to Eugene and to Lance, as Petrol says, even this fellow. Silver says, Lance? Petrol rips off the mask, saying, surprise, you had better be on your guard from now on. I can become anyone. Family, friends. You'll never know who might turn out to be me in disguise. You better watch your back. See ya! As he brings out a Golbat and flies off. Silver brings out his Honchkrow, shouting, wait! And as he gives chase, Petrol says, do you seriously think I'm gonna stick around here? Naturally, I want to get my plates back, but now that I've seen the fire in your eyes, I'm not sure I can beat you after all. As Silver calls out, you know what Lance looks like. That means you've probably met him somewhere before. Petrol says, yes, I fought him and I defeated him. It was child's play. Silver is shocked, and in that moment, Petrol has his Golbat use Air Cutter, downing Honchkrow in an instant, although Gyarados manages to catch them. But as Silver looks back to the sky, he finds nothing, thinking he disappeared. As he dismounts from Gyarados, he says, Honchkrow, Weevil, are you alright? Thanks for saving me, Gyarados. Eugene then begins to stir, regaining consciousness. The Silver says, I'm glad I learned something about the plates, but... And he thinks to himself, did he really defeat Lance? Meanwhile, a ways away, we see is that Crystal's mom? God, she looks as gaudy as ever. And she's in a Marrowcopter. And she sets it to autopilot. She says, we're finally here, yippee! Chris. Oh, Crystal in another section of the ship says, 1 second, Mom. I'm almost done with my paperwork. Her mom says, well, what's her mom? Mireille says, hurry up, you're running late, you know. Crystal says, yes, I know, I'll be right there. Mireille says, the Pokemon Academy students are so looking forward to today. And no wonder, an excursion to the new Safari Zone. You're chaperoning them, so you mustn't be late. Crystal says, but I've still got an hour till we meet up. Okay, fine, I'm ready. As she exits, Mireille is aghast, seeing her in, outfits attire as per usual. She says, let's go. And Mireille says, what in the world are you wearing? Crystal says, I always wear this for teaching. Mireille says, ick. No, this is a field trip. Today's the children are supposed to have fun. Hello. I can't hear you. One more time. Hello. Now then, I'm Crystal. I'll be your guide today. Call me Chris, Pokemon lover extraordinaire. First, listen up while I go over the Safari Zone rules. Please get the picture. Yes? Sound more cheerful, enthusiastic. Just like that. You have to look like you're enjoying yourself, says an exhausted Mireille. Crystal says, okay. Mireille then says, and that outfit, it doesn't say I'm really looking forward to this trip to the Safari Zone. You have to wear something that inspires everyone around you, that reflects the fun they're going to have. Fine, I'll coordinate your clothes for today. I'll come up with a cute, hip style for you. Crystal says, wait, what? Mireille says, aha, here it is. This is just perfect. Crystal says, Mireille says, oh, and this hat tops it off nicely. Crystal says, huh? Well, Mireille says, so cute. Now that actually explains a lot, because I'll be honest, Crystal wearing the clothes that Lyra has, well, I should say, no, it is Lyra. I thought I was mixing up their names. But Lyra's clothing is too cutesy for Crystal. That's the thing. Chris is a lot more sporty in her original appearance in the games, and making them different characters kind of made a little bit of sense, because it's just too drastic a difference in appearance for both Crystal and Lyra. Although I don't like the fact that we pretty much pushed Crystal completely to the side in favor of Lyra. I would have liked them to at least make an allusion to Lyra. Oh well. Meanwhile, back at the Safari Zone, Silver has Gyarados use Twister, and then has Kingdra use brine, and then Feraligatr has it use Aqua Tail. What is he doing? Meanwhile, Eugene is watching with his Voltorb? Electrode. I always mix up the name. Watching by a fire. He's still sneezing though. Says, so let me get this straight. That fellow who just attacked us is an executive member of Team Rocket. They're trying to make a comeback, and they're gathering items called plates. There are 16 plates in all, but we have no idea what they do or what Team Rocket intends to use them for. But since it's Team Rocket we're talking about here, it's pretty much a guarantee that they won't be used for good, and that's why you want to stop them. Silver, still looking around, says, right. Also, Lance disappeared, and his last words to Claire were, Safari Zone and plate. I didn't get my wish for Silver and Claire to team up, so I'm guessing some of these plates might be hidden somewhere around here. As we see as Weavile and Honchcrow looking around, Silver says, but they probably won't be easy to find. Eugene takes a moment and then says, hey Silver, that's your name, right? Silver turns to him and Eugene says, I understand what you're trying to accomplish here, but is this really your responsibility? I mean, if Team Rocket is breaking the law, isn't that a job for the police? Silver looks away saying, it's not just about justice. I'm the only one who can do this. Eugene questions, but why? As Silver grits his teeth, he says, because the man who created Team Rocket, their boss, Giovanni, is my father. Eugene is shocked, saying, what? Silver tells them, I was kidnapped by a villain called the Masked Man while I was little. I was taken from my true family and grew up without even knowing the names of my parents or where I was born. Later, I started searching for my roots, and 3 years ago, I finally learned of Giovanni. Since then, I wondered if the reason Team Rocket was formed was because of me. I never actually looked at it from that angle. Eugene thinks to himself, so that's why he looks so torn up whenever he mentions Team Rocket. Eugene then says, but that's only one possibility. The truth might be quite different. Silver says, perhaps. Whatever. I don't care about all that anymore. With a melancholic look in his eyes, Silver tells him, all that matters to me now is to make my father pay for what he did, to make sure no one else has to go through something like that again. That's all. Eugene starts to cry and sniffle, and this causes Silver to look around saying, the coughing are back? Eugene with a handkerchief says, no. Yeah, snotting and crying all over the place, he grabs Silver saying, Silver, thank you for telling me about your dark past. But you can't make it all on your own. No one can. We need someone to help you with your mission. He brings in Silver close, saying, and now that I've heard your story, Eugene, Seeker of Suicune, will be that someone. Where shall I begin? What can I do to help? Silver says, no, really, Eugene says, I have an idea. If you want to find these plate thingies, I've got a friend called the Mystic Seer of the Future. I'll introduce him to you. I'm sure he'll be able to help you out. And in return, if you find out anything at all about Suicune, please let me know right away. Silver thinks to himself, he seems like an okay guy, but I don't want somebody hanging around with me all the time. Suddenly, Eugene is pelted by dirt and rocks from a bunch of kids. He says, oops, he's human. I thought it was a Pokemon. Eugene flares out his cape saying, do I look like a... And Crystal says, oh, I'm so sorry. Well, go on, apologize, kids. The kids say, we're sorry. And as Crystal spots Silver, she says, huh? Silver says, what the? Crystal, with her Meganium, says, Silver? Okay, this look looks awkward on her, I gotta tell you. Like, it looks like the pants are riding up too high. The overalls are way too short for her. It almost looks like it just don't fit her right. I gotta say, something about the way the outfit looks on her in this adaptation just don't look right. See, in the style that looks like Ken Sugimoto, and in a lot of other illustrations for her, it doesn't look bad or anything like that. Yeah, I think it's just the way this artist draws her. It looks off on her. Like, no, she should not be wearing this. Maybe it'll look better as time goes on. I mean, Silver's look did look so out of place, and neither did Gold's, but I don't know. Her outfit just looks awkward on her. Regardless, Crystal says, Silver? Silver? Meanwhile, over with Proton, he's with some other rocket grunts in some cave base. He says, what do you mean 2 of the plates were taken? Never mind. I don't have time for such concerns. Go tell Ariana. I'm busy enough with my own work. As he goes back to his computer, he says, I can't find it no matter how many times I search. Where could it be? The Shinjo Ruins. Shinjo Ruins. Alright, in the last chapter of this volume and video, yeah, sorry, it's a bit short, but there'll be plenty more later. It's adventure number 7. Pleased as punch with Parasect. I do love alliteration. We pick up with Crystal and Silver making their way somewhere. Are they still in the Safari Zone? She's on her Pokegear saying, hello? It's Chris. Oh, yes, Mr. Dervish. The children had a great time at the Safari Zone. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Next, Professor Oak. That's right, I'm traveling along Route 40. Yes, I'll call again soon. Hi, Mom, it's Chris. Thanks for everything today. Okay, bye, Mom. Silver just watches. Yeah, she got a lot going on. Yeah, I know a lot of busy girls like that. I think it's just if I don't see like the bottom half of her, it doesn't look as awkward. I think it's just the weird shorts that she hangs up. He says, okay, bye, Mom. Silver says, you seem awfully busy. Chris says, there are 3 simple secrets to living your life, you know? Isn't that right, Natty? Silver says, 3? Simple secrets? Crystal says, report, communicate, and consult. Check in with people you're close to and keep them posted on what you're up to. It's reassuring. And you got Cubone coming up with a Pokegear saying, oh, I got a spare, feel free. It's a new Pokegear. Go ahead and use it. Silver grows angry, saying, you can't be serious. He pushes it back to the Cubone saying, I'm going after Team Rocket alone, not at someone's request. This is a mission from Professor Oak, and it's nothing you need to involve yourself in. Crystal says, but I can't walk away now. Do you really think I can just forget about all this and move on after seeing the state you're in? She cares too much. Silver doesn't respond, but then he winces in pain from his arm. Oh yeah, when he grabbed the, rope, it probably got his arm dislocated, even just slightly. Chris says, what did I tell you? You're sore all over. And even if you managed not to breathe in Coughing's gas, some of it must have gotten into your eyes and nose. He brings out Parasect, saying, help him, please, Parasy. Parasect, puffs some spores at Silver, and then he seems to be a little bit relieved. Crystal saying, this is a medicine Parasy makes by blending its spores. It's a pain reliever and antidote. Chris. Just, Mom. Silver says, very shyly, thanks. Crystal says, don't worry about it. That's what friends do for each other. She says, holding up her Pokedex, I think? She tells Silver, there's a lighthouse at Olivine City. Anyway, we ought to head over to Eckertique. Oh, there's the lighthouse at Olivine City. Anyway, we ought to head over to Eckertique City first. He's seen us introducing us to Morty, the gym leader of Eckertique City. We might be able to learn something from him since he can see the future. Kinda. Oh, man. I gotta say, Morty's new drip, so much better than his last outfit. And I actually didn't mind Morty's previous appearance, but this just feels a little bit more ghostly. Yeah, when Silver thinks about a Eugene, he's just like, I doubt that. Crystal says, there's nothing mysterious about Eugene. He's a nice guy. You can trust him. I mean, he volunteered to take care of the children for me and everything. No matter what, I have to see this through to the end. I made a solemn vow to myself. I'm doing it for the children, because deep down I know, as long as Team Rocket is around, they'll never be able to study or play or grow up in safety. Something could happen to them today, or on another day in the future. I can't just stand around doing nothing when I know they're in danger. I have to do something to help put a stop to Team Rocket. That's my decision. Okay, you know what? This outfit's kind of growing on me the more I see her drawn in it. Now, not just Team Rocket. There are so many people out there willing to ruin our future and destroy this world to satisfy their greed. He says, taking something out of her bag? What is that? Some kind of shard of something? She thinks of Emerald, saying, if I can protect them, the children who are giving up their dreams because they can't find any hope in the world today, they might realize that not all is lost. Silver seems to be, taking this all in. And Chris says, what? And then she looks out saying, oh, this outfit. Crystal gets real shy saying, well, my mother made me wear it. I know. Don't tell me. You don't have to tell me it doesn't look good on me. My mother's a bit strange, okay? That's putting it mildly, but she's normally pretty laid back, even a little careless. Romero smells like a dirty wash rag, but she doesn't seem to mind that. What did she say? Silver says, I wasn't. Crystal says, I don't want Gold to see me in this getup. He'll totally make fun of me. He won't stop laughing at me. I'm sure of it. Oh, she's so self-conscious. But because of this, they don't notice something making its way to them from under the water, glaring at them. Speaking of Gold, we cut over to Eckertique City. Oh god, they're all headed here. At the Kimono Dance Theater, where, well, Gold is ogling the kimono girls with their evolutions. I actually appreciate the fact that, despite the fact that they're all drawn very similarly, you can actually tell a slight bit of difference in their eyes. As he watches, Gold calls out, "They're all so cute. Be mine, kimono girls." The girls all say, "Gold, this is the traditional dance of Eckertique City. Enjoy the performance. Have fun." Gold says, "Oh, Miko, Kuni, Sayo, and Nooka. They're all so cute, but my favorite is Zuki." Meanwhile, the director, what's his name again? Hiro, looms over Gold, and Gold says, "Don't sneak up on me like that. What do you want?" Hiro says, "What do you mean, what do I want? Why are you wasting time like this?" Gold says, "Wasting time? You mean, why am I spending my days at the dance theater instead of continuing my investigation or training my Pokemon? That's what you mean, isn't it?" Hiro says, that's right." Gold pushes him out the door, saying, "Why don't you go see what my Pokemon are doing before accusing me of neglecting my duties?" There. And Hiro sees, well, Gold's Pokemon training against each other. They have a little bit of a sparring match between Politoed and Apom. Gold says, "See, you don't have to monitor him 24/7. Abo is still fired up from the battle at the Pokeathlon Dome, so it's really training hard." Hiro says, okay, I see." Gold says, "At the moment, Abo is trying to learn a move called Double Hit. Now, how come you haven't gone back to work at the radio tower? I know what you're up to. You want to get an exclusive news story on this case, don't you? That's why you said I'm wasting time, right?" Hiro says, "Oh, you're sharp." Gold then says, "Come to think of it, you showed up at Mount Silver when I was training with Red too, and I appreciate you following me around all the time." Hiro says, he laughs a little bit. "Yo, sure enough." Oh, Gold says, just as we see Apom managing to pull off Double Hit. Oh, Gold says, "Abo, that was the first time you pulled out that move, isn't it?" And suddenly, Apom evolves, much to Gold's surprise, as Apom evolves into Ambipom. I still don't care for Ambipom's look over Apom, but it is what it is. Hiro says it's sharp. Gold says it changed and brings up the Pokedex, saying Ambipom, the long-tailed Pokemon. It is very difficult to dodge the consecutive strikes of its two tails. Gold says, "Oh, cool, now it's got two tails." And the kimono girls peek out, saying, "What's all the shouting about? Oh my, Abo, you evolved. You look so much stronger now." Like trainer like Pokemon. And as the girls make a big ruckus over Ambipom, Togepi seems a little left out. One of the kimono girls notices, saying, "Togepi has a sulky look on his face." Gold says, "Maybe it's jealous because it's the only one who hasn't evolved yet. Togepi is really tough. It still hasn't totally opened up to me, though. I'd help it evolve if I knew how." The voice of Morty calls out, "People are still doing research on how to accomplish that. To be precise, no one has deciphered the secret behind Togepi evolution yet." Morty shows up with a mischievous and a ghastly. Gold says, "Hey, wait, who are you?" Which takes everyone off guard. The kimono girls say, "The gym leader of Eckertique City, Morty." Gold says, "Oh, now I remember. You were with that pretty girl with all the gym leaders got back together back then." Oh, he's talking about Jasmine. "How's she doing?" Morty says, "You mean Jasmine? She's in the Sinnoh region at the moment. She vowed not to return until she mastered Pokemon contests." Yeah, apparently you find... Well, actually, she was there. We actually saw her hanging out with, oh no, I'm forgetting her name. Fantina. She was hanging out with Fantina for some reason. Fantina. There we go. Yeah, she was hanging out with Fantina. Gold turns away saying, "Boring." The kimono girl says, "So, Morty, what brings you here today?" Yeah, I'm not going to go through their individual names. Morty says, "Oh, I'm just checking things out around town. Some thugs barged into my gym the other day and tried to force me to use my special talent for them. I wanted to see if they've been causing trouble around here, too." The girls say, "I haven't heard of any incidents like that." Gold says, "So, what's this special ability you mentioned?" Now he's interested. The girls say, "Morty can see into the future. He can pinpoint the whereabouts of a person or thing. He makes a living doing it. Gold says, a person or thing? He then grabs Morty, saying, I need you to find somebody for me, a guy named Lance. Hero says, hey, don't be so rude, Gold. Gold reaches into his pocket, saying, I'll pay you. That is Professor Oakwell. I got a lead on him, a fragment of his cape. Where'd I put it? And as he brings out his Pokedex, Morty thinks, Pokedex? He puts a hand on Gold's shoulder, saying, so, you're the one he was talking about. Gold says, huh? Morty says, okay, I'll do it. Follow me to my gym. Gold says, what? I don't get it, but hooray! Over at the Ecruteak City gym, Morty sits at his little pedestal at the gym with a fragment of Lance's cape, saying, the man who lost this fragment of cape. You want me to find him for you, right? Gold says, yeah, I'm counting on you. Suddenly, there's a ringing on Morty's phone. I love that it's at the little back icon of his gym. He says, hold on a sec. Hello? Oh, hi, Chuck. Oh, we see that Chuck, Faulkner, and Bugsy have all arrived. Interesting. Chuck says, we're in front of the gym, right? Faulkner and Bugsy are with me, too. Okay, don't worry about a thing. Gold says, what's that? Morty says, my gym leader friends from a nearby town. They're protecting my gym from those thugs who showed up earlier. It sure brings back memories. I was looking for somebody recently myself. Gold says, huh? For who? And Morty says, you. Gold says, what? Morty says, oh, right. He knows about Gold, but Gold doesn't really know about him. Morty says, a man named Lieutenant Surge asked me to find you and your friend. You were asleep on one of the world islands. Gold is depressed, saying, so the person looking for me wasn't some mysterious beauty, huh? Gold. I swear. Morty says, I distinctly remember that Pokédex being among your belongings that Surge brought with him, and I heard all about your success at the Pokemon League afterwards. Gold says, oh, then you know a lot about me. Well, since I'm not a stranger, I hope I can count on you to give this your best effort, Morty. I actually like that some of them are meeting people they never met in the previous story arcs they were in. Morty says, sure thing, let's get started. Mischievous, Ghastly, please help me. And as Mischievous and Ghastly swirl around Morty, he concentrates. Meanwhile, on Route 38, we see Silver and Crystal. Crystal says, I see Bell Tower finally. Ecruteak City is just ahead. She then thinks to herself, the Bell Tower. That place sure brings back memories. That's where I tried to capture Suicune. Yeah, shoot. A lot happened in those story arcs. Oof, a lot. Crystal says, you've heard the legend of Ho-Oh, right? Ho-Oh created 3 legendary Pokemon with fire, Raikou, Suicune, and Entei. Silver says, yeah, Pokemon who gives life. Maybe Team Rocket is after the powers of a Pokemon like that. Crystal says, what's the deal with those plate things Team Rocket's collecting? Silver says, I'm not sure. This Morty guy can really see into the future. I'm hoping he can tell me where the other plates are. Crystal asks Petrol, the Team Rocket executives said there were 16 of them in all, right? Silver says, right. The Draco plate, the Flame plate, the Fist plate, and the others with names like Earth and Toxic. Each one is different. But why 16? What's significant about that number? Suddenly, what? Suddenly, Silver is hoisted up into the air by an Arbok. And is it the same Arbok from the Survivor Zone? Was it still carrying a grudge? And as Crystal is pushed to the side, she says, Arbok. Arbok goes looking to pretty much swallow Silver in one bite, but Silver brings out Honchkrow and manages to fly above Arbok's bite, but Arbok then uses Glare, which seizes up Honchkrow. Crystal calls out, it's paralyzed. Arbok used Glare. Was it Pin Missile? No, Poison Sting. Arbok uses Poison Sting to pin Silver to a tree, with Silver narrowly managing to have any of his vitals pierced. My god. As Silver is left pinned to a tree, Arbok looming, Crystal says, and now it's used Poison Sting. She brings out her Cubone, her Arcanine, and her Hitmonchan. That's right. Because her nickname for Hitmonchan is Hitmonlee. And it's like, no, but it's not a Hitmonlee. Why would you nickname it Monlee? That's so weird. But as they try to go in, they're suddenly smacked to the side. Crystal says, huh? Oh, it's Ariana of Team Rocket. And I gotta say, Ariana be looking thick. Like, thicker than the way she looks in the game. Like, I know there's been some theories that she's Silver's mom, but I gotta tell you, they making her look like mommy. But Ariana, not to mention she has a Murkrow. Come on. The irony of it. But Ariana appears with her Murkrow, Arbok, and Gloom. Ugh, Gloom. Crystal says, Team Rocket. Ariana says, how do you do? I'm Ariana, one of the 4 Team Rocket executives. It would be a great blow to the pride of Team Rocket if we allowed you kitties to roam about freely. That's why I've come here to stop you, she says as her Pokemon close in on Crystal's. Crystal whispers to her Pokemon, Monly, Archie, Boney, move away slowly. Don't let her catch on. Move gradually away from the tree that Silver is pinned to. She then has her Hitmonchan use Mach Punch on Murkrow and has Arcanine use Flamethrower on Gloom. But both Gloom and Murkrow retaliate, sending out attacks that Arcanine and Hitmonchan barely manage to avoid. As Crystal thinks to herself, good, be careful of Arbok's Glare and Poison Sting. Keep falling back while you battle them. Yeah, Cubone's dealing with Arbok. Silver thinks, Chris, you're trying to draw their attention away from me so I can escape and go to Ecruteak City? Crystal thinks to herself, Silver will be fine. He'd handle this on his own. Go on ahead, meet with Morty, and find out where the rest of those plates are before Team Rocket does. She then commands Cubone to use Bone Meringue on Arbok, managing to hit it pretty badly. But Arbok tanks it, grins, and then bites down on Cubone. Meanwhile, Murkrow is using Peck on Hitmonchan, while Gloom is blasting Arcanine with what seems to be acid. Jeez. As Silver grows angry, he thinks to himself, like Petrol, that woman is one of the 4 executives who control Team Rocket. Now, I can tell she's an extremely powerful trainer by the way her Arbok withstands ground-type moves, and her Gloom bears up in her fire-type moves. I can't leave Chris to face them on her own, right? Those were attacks that should have taken them down instantly. Silver starts to rip out of what's pinning him to the tree, thinking, I have to fight them myself. I'll hand the plates over to Chris and send her off to Ecruteak City. And then Silver realizes something as he thinks, plates. He looks to Arcanine thinking flame. He looks to Hitmonchan thinking fist. He looks to Cubone thinking earth. And he pulls out one of the plates and pairs it against Arbok thinking toxic. So that's what they mean. He says, flame plate is fire, fist plate is fighting, earth plate is ground, toxic plate is poison. In other words, each plate stands for a Pokemon type to be continued. I gotta say, Gold, sometimes I forget how much of a lot Gold can kind of be sometimes, and why it's with the others he balances himself out. Because Silver is so determined, but he's got such a one-track mind, while Crystal is a little bit more generous, sometimes too generous for her own good. And without the 3 of them, this story, I don't think the story would work as well, because when we only had Gold, he was fun, but man, his personality, oh boy, his personality. Even after all this time, it's just like, oh, Gold, come on, boy, get it together. But with Silver and Crystal, it's like, oh, such a more intense story. But then you see that Gold has a lot more going on in his mind than you think. But then sometimes I think Gold has a lot more going on in his mind when he really doesn't. I thought he was coming to Ecruteak City for a little bit more. I guess he just wanted to train up a little, but I thought he actually had a plan for going to Ecruteak. But now he just got a stumbling into where he needs to be, as per usual with his character. But the Rocket execs, they feel a little formidable. They feel dangerous in their own right, even though Silver was able to overcome Petrol the way he was. Petrol pulling out his quick change, it's like, okay, that just puts a cautious person even more on guard. And Crystal being involved is great. You know, the outfit is starting to grow on me. I wasn't sure at first, because all the other outfit changes were okay for the most part. Greens took a little bit of time getting used to, but Crystal's just like, I don't know if that really suits her. But as the mangaka draws her more and more in the outfit, it's just kind of like, okay, this clicks a little bit more. This feels like, okay, now this isn't a bad look for her. It's the thing that catches me off guard, and I feel like I'm outing myself, is this mangaka draws girls a little bit more plump than the game artwork does. And like, you can see the meat on some of these women's bones. like with Ariana, she's a little bit more thick and you can really see the curves on her and stuff. And the mangaka tends to put detail in places where I'm just like, you didn't have to draw that detailed. Like, now I'm thinking about it, and I don't want to be thinking about that, especially with some of these younger girls, but there I am outing myself, more or less. But the action is just drawn so beautifully. And unlike the days where it was sometimes kind of hard to tell what was going on, that's almost never a problem. But I'm interested to see Proton in action and Archer in action. I'm starting to remember their names now because they were interesting to me from the get-go. Like, I was interested in actually seeing these guys do their thing and show off why they're the executives. You know, what with the three beasts out of the way, you had the original trio that they presented with the executives being the gym leaders, and they were out of the picture. And then you had the situation with the Massive Ice and his executives, and then you had the Beasts, and now you have these executives. So they have to show off why they're so dangerous, more or less. And they feel pretty dangerous, all things considered. Don't know what the Shinjo ruins are. I'm interested to see about that. Everyone's converging on Eckertique City, and since it's only 2 volumes, it makes sense that our team would kind of come together fast enough. You know, 2 volumes because it's not like we had a remake of Pokemon Crystal. But I do wonder what happened to Lance. I hope he's okay, and I hope we actually get to see him in action. And will he be recognized as a champion or what? Because that's a bit of a situation that I'm not sure of, because this would kind of be the last chance to really establish his role as it is in the games currently. So we'll just have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.